We don't own the earth, Chief Seattle said. We're borrowing it from our grandchildren. And really, in today's world, more likely, we're like the renters who move in and trash the apartment and then skip town without paying the bill, leaving it to the landlord, our grandchildren, to clean up the mess. I'm Joe Tye, CEO of Values Coach, and your coach for this course on the 12 Core Action Values. And today we're going to cover stewardship, the fourth cornerstone of integrity, core action value number 2. And stewardship really is a matter of integrity. It is a matter of integrity that we not waste resources. And let's talk about stewardship at 3 levels: personal, organizational, and global. At a personal level, it is a matter of integrity that we take care of our health, our finances, so that we don't become a burden on our families, so that we don't become a burden on society. And unfortunately, the trend has been in the exact opposite direction. We have gone into this me generation culture of mindless self-indulgence where the fastest growing disease entity in America and in much of the rest of the world now is obesity, substantially a disease of mindless self-indulgence. The fastest growing industry in America, believe it or not, in the last couple of decades has been gambling, casinos, and lotteries. Hoping to win the lottery or sitting at a slot machine is hoping that somebody else will give you money that you don't have to work to earn, that you don't deserve to keep because you don't have the courage and the gumption to go out and earn it on your own. And that's tough love language, but it's awful true. The driving force behind our economy used to be agriculture, then it was industrial, then it was information and service. You know what drives the American economy more than any other single factor today? Entertainment. Microsoft used to be a computer company. Now their hottest product is the Xbox, video games. Apple used to be a computer company. Now their hottest product, the iPod. Entertainment. We're in this culture of where we need to be entertained all the time. And how do we pay for all this stuff? Debt. The average American family spends more than it makes. That is not sustainable. And we finance it with credit cards. And to call the policymakers in Washington, D.C. the economic equivalent of drunken sailors on a seaside binge would be a terrible insult to anybody who's ever been a sailor. My friend Stephen Hayes is starting a company that's going to work with schools teaching financial literacy to kids. And he wrote a book that I hope will soon be published called Snap Out of It, America. And it's a wake-up call for all of us to get off of this binge, this roller coaster, because we're headed for a fall if we don't. And it begins with you and me. The folks in Washington can't do it for us. We need to take personal responsibility for being more effective stewards of our health, because healthcare costs are out of control, and for our finances, because the economy's out of control. At an organizational level, it really concerns me when I see Dilbert cartoons and this culture of entitlement. You know what? If you're taking a paycheck from a place, you owe it to that organization to come in every day and give it your best shot. You owe it to give your best game to your customers. We're not entitled to jobs. What we're entitled to is the opportunity to do our best work. And we need to make a transition. In fact, I wrote a book about it, The Florence Prescription, on moving from a culture of accountability, I'm looking over your shoulder, going to hold your feet to the fire, to a culture of ownership where we all take pride of ownership for the work itself and for our relationships with other people. It is a matter of integrity, that if you're taking the paycheck, when you come in, you give your best job. And if you don't feel like the employer deserves it, well, find another job where they do, or start your own company. See how hard it is. And finally, at a global level, I'm terribly concerned, and you should be too, at where we're headed with our environment. If you read Jared Diamond's book, Collapse, he studied societies that throughout history have collapsed, gone away, like Easter Island. And one of the dominant factors in almost every single case was environmental degradation. And it's something that we see going on around the world today at an accelerating pace. And each of us owes it to our grandchildren to do our small part to preserve this fragile world. Now, as I always do, I want to give you a very practical application. This one's not quite so practical. You're going to have to think a little bit more about it. But it's the economic notion of opportunity cost. And what that means essentially is that anytime you spend something, anytime you do something, that means that you can't spend on something else or do something else. There's no free lunch. Everything you do has an opportunity cost. And in the context of stewardship, sitting on the couch watching TV for 2 hours, the opportunity cost is you're not studying Dave Ramsey's book, The Total Money Makeover, so that you can get your own finances under control. You're not exercising so that you don't become a Medicaid or a Medicare patient someday. Anytime you come in and waste an organization's resources, that's money that's not available to do special promotions for customers or for pay raises. And anytime we come in and we turn on all the lights when we don't need to, we're using energy that is not available for something else. So if every time, it's really a variation of the DDQ that I talked about earlier, the direction deflection question. Anytime you're about to spend a resource, including your time, ask yourself, is this the best use of this resource? Do I need to do this? If the answer is no, don't. Do something else. Do something to be an effective steward. J.R.R. Tolkien had Gandalf, one of the characters in The Lord of the Rings, say, I'm a steward, didn't you know? That should be all of our attitudes. I am a steward of my resources, of our resources. Next time we're going to talk about waking up. Core action value number 3, awareness. I'll see you then.